Radio.
Hoo-wee. My God. How you guys doing? Welcome everybody to the Saturday edition of the Paranormal Portal. This is absolutely live and unrehearsed, so whatever you're getting is as it comes out of my mouth. Right to you. There's no filters involved. It's almost like jumping without a net in a circus thing, is broadcasting without an idea of what the hell I'm going to say. But that's how I've always done it. Always played it right off the cuff, and so far so good. Hope you guys are doing great, having a great weekend, of course. We've got a lot on deck tonight that we're going to get to. Obviously, we'll do the news. We'll do the Discord question of the week. We'll do some other odds and ends, and then we'll head into the Cryptid corner. I don't know. We'll just end up where we end up. But just want to give you guys a reminder. Pinned to the Discord, and this comes up during the Discord question of the week as well. But I do giveaways on our Discord community, as well as to members of the YouTube channel. So if you want to qualify for either, please feel free to sign up either on the Discord. It's costs you nothing. And you could be eligible for a giveaway. I'm going to do a t-shirt giveaway this next week. So just wanted to bring you up to speed on that you could be considered. There's a thread in the Discord that's, I think, giveaways. Yeah, I didn't take too long to come up with that name. But also, we'll be doing one very shortly here on YouTube again as well. So see who else is going to walk away with a couple of Paranormal Portal t-shirts. But we'll figure that out down the line. So let's see. Anything I'm thinking of right on the front end here? I don't think so. I think it's just you and me, first of all. There's no co-host tonight except of all of you. So by all means, if you want a shirt, good thing, Batman, because that's where you're going to get a chance to get one for sure. I mean, you can always buy them as well. Just go to the Teespring link down in the description below. And you can certainly pick one up for yourself, but it's just a way to say thank you to all of you guys that are participating in these different communities surrounding the Paranormal Portal. It means the world to me, and your involvement means so much, and I just want to say thank you. And that's one way I could do it, I wish I could give you all t-shirts. I wish I just go, hey, you know what? Pick out what you want. I got this, but I can't. I'm not quite that successful. So, I can give away one though. And, I love doing that, and we'll keep doing that too. So if you don't win in the next round, that's not like that's the only round. We'll do giveaways every month on the Discord and every month on the YouTube members channel. Not channel members, but, and we'll probably do some holiday giveaways to everybody. The normal, viewers, I'll do some holiday giveaways regarding t-shirts and stuff, that we'll put up on, some kind of show that I'll put together in the near future. Where we're going to do a few drawings to those of you out there and, qualify to win. But anyway, it's just an opportunity to say thank you guys for supporting what I'm doing, supporting this dream, and tuning into both the podcast and the YouTube. It's been just a really cool adventure, and it really is. It's an incredible feeling to be living a dream. There's an old saying: you find what you love doing, and you'll never work a day in your life. And I do work very, very hard and very long hours at this, but it is true. I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm chasing something that I'm so excited about. And so it's great that so many of you are along on that journey with me. So I'm tuned back in. Good, Mr. Golden. Good to see you, Golden V. That's a new name to me. I don't know. Did you have another name before, or are you brand new? But at any rate, thank you for coming in and checking out the show. That's outstanding. Nice to meet you. Let me know. I'm just looking to see if there's a response. There's always a lag between. That's the hard part about just talking to the chat, is because it takes a while for you guys to hear what I've actually said, and then it takes a while to type a response. So, yeah, we'll keep watching to see if that was the original name for Mr. Golden V, or if that's a new moniker and there was somebody else. But at any rate, you guys are part of the show tonight. Sorry, I got something stuck on my tongue. I had a hamburger earlier, and apparently I didn't eat all of it. So there it goes. I feel better now. I'm going to chase it down with some water here. Yeah, got to quench my thirst. Oh, Jesus. I was trying to do the trumpet drink to get that awesome plastic snapping sound, and I ended up sprinkling myself. I've been spritzed. I'm spritzed now. Even the microphone got spritzed. There you go. That's how we roll here. So, Mr. Golden V, I've been in the bushes with the same name. Okay, very cool. Well, thank you for coming in and making your presence known. Much like a lurking spirit out there. You've come and given us an EVP now. So, very cool. It's nice to meet you, and thank you so much for coming in. Yeah, it wasn't fur in my burger. What the hell are you talking about? That's twisted as hell. Oh God, it was a Wendy's burger. The fast food. Jeez. Why did you have to put that in my head? Okay, so anyway, let's continue before this went to the gutter faster than when Don's here. Jesus. You guys might have set a new record tonight. Wow. Don't stop. What is wrong with you people? Oh my God. You guys are going to lose chat community privileges, some of you. All right. So anyway, don't do that to me. I'm all by myself here. I can't even blame Don tonight. I got to blame you guys. All right, it's just me. All right. Long beard lingers. Yeah, it's like a pathogen that's spread to the chat. Oh no, the chat is infected with the long beard pathogen. Don would be so proud. He would be so proud of you guys right now. All right. I guess without further ado, so again, the giveaways, get involved in the Discord if you're not already. The link is pinned in the top of the YouTube chat. And if you don't mind, if you're able to, become a member of the channel. That would be great. And I'll probably gift some memberships on the night of the drawing as well, just to thicken the pot a little bit. But, if you can, of course, it's greatly appreciated. If you can't, we'll gift some memberships, and they'll fall where they may. But, we just like to bring you all into the fold as much as we can. So let's all start randomly combining. our beards. What the hell, Rachel? All right. One beard's enough. I'm telling you, I have one night a week I got the beard, and you guys are rolling it into a 3-night fiesta here. All right. Okay. Focus. All right. All right. So we're going to get to the news, folks. Let's see what's going on in the news out there. That I've got 3 articles pulled up for you tonight. So without further ado, let's get to the news. The news you can trust, ladies and gentlemen, the most trusted news. And it's the one John trusts. It's the only one he trusts, so I got that going for me. I saw the disco moves. Somebody put some disco emojis in there, so that cracked me up a little bit. But all right, so welcome to the Paranormal Portal News as we dive into some of the weirdness and sometimes it's not even weird. Sometimes it's just technologically exciting or breaking news of some kind, but let's see what I pulled up for you tonight. 3 articles. Starting with this article. This is another one about NDEs, near-death experiences. And I think these are exciting. I love near-death experience stories because I think that they are probably one of the greatest proofs that we have outside of faith that life continues. Life continues after all of this. And I think that's wonderful. So the first story up tonight, let me pull up this so I can see if it's on the screen correctly, is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Again, please support this site. They do amazing stuff over there. This TK Randall, who is right here. Every article that you find over there is by TK Randall. This person is just a machine. It's as of September 16th, 2023. What is the date? Yeah, it's today. So this is from today. It says, study of cardiac arrest survivors offers new insights into NDEs. Now, I will say this. I think that near-death experiences to me are exciting. And as I stated, I think they do provide some evidence, or at least a compelling narrative for the idea that life continues, that we're not bound to the shell. Now, it's something I've always believed anyway, but I like the fact that these instances definitely reinforce that. However, there is a very aggressive movement in the scientific community to debunk these. Like they just feel that they need to do that, and they need to shut that down. And why that is, I don't know, because I don't know what the harm of people believing that there's something more is to them. And it's almost like it's they're just vying for a title of being right or something. And I just don't like that. And I think that's incredibly crappy and horrible to try to remove people's hope. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think you're doing anybody any favors. And I think it's just it's an ego play to me. Why is it necessary to say? Now those same people would be like, well, I think it's an ego play to try to shove, that there's life continuing down my throat. And it's like, well, you don't have to listen. Now, I don't have to read these stories either. I don't know which side this one's going to fall on because I haven't read it ahead of time. But I will say that it really bothers me that there's so many people that in the scientific communities that are so adamant to disprove this. It's like they just want to so desperately. And they'll throw some of the most ridiculous narratives at it to explain it away. So, but again, you be the judge. Maybe you believe in life and after death, or maybe you don't. And there's, I guess, like Wes says, there's no wrong answers. We just don't know. But let's see what the article says. It said, what exactly is going on in the mind of someone who's in the middle of being resuscitated following a cardiac arrest? It says, published in the journal Resuscitation, the new study, which was headed up by a team of researchers from the US and the UK, monitored 567 patients who experienced cardiac arrest while in the hospital. Sadly, around 10% of those studied were successfully, Sadly, only Sadly, only around 10% of those studied were successfully resuscitated, but those who survived were able to offer some intriguing insights into their experiences. Of the 28 interviewed, 11 described memories and perceptions indicating that they still experienced some level of consciousness awareness during the cardiac arrest. 6 of the 7 patients experienced what is described as transcendent recalled experience of death, or what's more commonly known as a near-death experience. Brain scans during this time also indicated that activity had continued even after the heart had stopped. Well, yeah, that's for sure. That's no news. There's nothing more extreme than cardiac arrest because they're literally teetering between life and death. They're in a deep coma and they don't respond to us physically at all, said lead study author Dr. Sam Parnia of the Department of Medicine at NYU Langone Health, or Langone. What we're able to show is that up to 40% of people actually have a perception of having been conscious to some extent. So this one was neither good nor bad, and it was just more of a hey, this is what we could see. So either way, again, I'm a firm believer in near-death experiences being valid and definitely showing a continuation of consciousness past our physical form. But this one, all they could do was just say, yeah, we saw some brainwaves continue. And when people that were resuscitated came back, several of them did have conscious awareness of being somewhere or something. So that's kind of cool. Either way, more of that burger. All right. Let's get on to the next one because, well, there's more to go. So with that in mind, we're going to get to the next one here, which is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one's, I guess no matter what it is, somebody wants to be the first one to do it. And there's a bit of notoriety that goes along with that. And maybe having achieved something somebody had never done before, but this might be a 10 on my stupid meter. We'll see how you feel about it. But this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Man arrested while trying to run across the ocean in a hamster wheel. In a hamster wheel. I mean, why? Really? Look at that, though. He actually put some time into it. He actually made a hell of a hamster wheel. It said the man had been attempting to run across the entire Atlantic Ocean using a crude hamster wheel contraption. The whole Atlantic? Really? How long would that take? Months, I suppose? At least months. I mean, the old sailing ships would take months, and they were grabbing a full sail of air and being pulled across. So this guy was going to jog it or what? We've seen a lot of madcap stunts over the years. This one pretty much takes the cake. According to reports, 44-year-old marathon runner Riza Baluchi had decided to make history by running across the Atlantic from Florida to London using a homemade hamster wheel contraption. Using a homemade... I mean, what? Why? What was he arrested on? Stupidity? What do you charge somebody with? I mean, again, if he'd made it, that would have been a hell of a thing, but wow. That's, you're pretty much asking to die doing something like that, aren't you? It says the device or vessel was basically a cylindrical tube with paddles that made it possible for the occupant to effectively propel it across the surface of the water. Impressively, given the circumstances, he managed to make it 70 miles out to sea before being stopped by the U.S. Coast Guard off Tybee Island. The strangeness didn't end there, though, as Baluchi refused to come out and even threatened to blow himself up with a bomb, which it turns out didn't actually exist. So we can be pretty clear this guy wasn't working on all the cylinders anyway, right? If that's where you go to, I can let me run around blowing myself up. It's like, yeah, you've got some issues there. It took several days for him to finally give himself up. This isn't the first time he's tried to stunt like this either. Back in 2021, he was arrested while trying to go from Florida to New York, having had to be rescued after drifting 30 miles from the starting point. He was also rescued on 2 earlier occasions during similar ocean crossing attempts. So I'm thinking he's not probably going to give up this dream. This is, for some reason, very important to the guy, but it's also very, very tragic. I don't know. Why would, I don't know if this is his shot. He figures this is the one way people are going to know his name is he would be the one guy to run across the Atlantic. But my God, really? I don't know how that works. If he was going to hit prevailing currents and, they were going to kind of pull him in anyway, that kind of thing. But my God, that's just, I don't think that's probably a real viable form of traversing. Otherwise, where are the paddle wheel steamships that are crossing the ocean? Oh, they don't make them. That's because they would sink. Now this guy obviously had quite a bit of balls on there. If you look at the picture, I mean, he's got totally some of those boat floats, and I don't know what these red balls are, if they're like yoga balls or what, but yeah, I mean, it may actually stand up to the journey to a large degree, but man, if these balls go flat for any reason, he's in that cage going down. That's it. Steel tubular cages don't float without buoyancy of some kind. So that's one of those. It takes all kinds. That's like almost a Darwin Award thing. But anyway, can I get down on the guy for trying? No, I mean, I guess if that's where he thought he was going to, shoot his shot, he was going to be the guy to run across the Atlantic. Well, but I don't think you threaten to blow yourself up if they try to pull you out of it, especially after they had to rescue you 4 other times prior because of similar attempts. I mean, you kind of proved there's a few holes in your plan. So at least generally speaking, here's one that has to do with the Bigfoot world. This one's unfortunately having to do with a hoax that was apparently perpetuated for over 50 years. And that's quite a long time to hang on to a hoax. But at any rate, this guy decided to do it. And this will be our last article coming up on the news tonight. So I don't know. These kind of actually piss me off because it's like, these things are out there anyway. People are seeing things that they can't explain. They don't need some, yokel in a fluffy suit to go out there and add more drama to it. But anyway, this is it from unexplained-mysteries.com. Man who created Bigfoot hoax kept it secret for 50 years. Wow. 50 years, folks. The next hamster wheel will be better. Yeah, I guess. 50 years. He hoaxed it and then kept his mouth shut for 50 years. When Eugene Hendrick decided to fool his town into thinking Bigfoot was visiting, the prank ended up enduring for decades. Hendrick's elaborate prank began one day in the 1970s in the town of Brantley, Alabama. I got a wild hair one day. I wanted to do something about a Sasquatch, he said. I cut some big old feet and bolted down some shoes onto them and walked around the river making tracks. I even made claw marks in the trees. That's my Alabama. Does it sound right? I don't know. He said the stunt worked better than he had expected. So well, in fact, that police officers were even called out to conduct a search of the area with specially trained dogs. Hendrick quietly decided that he'd done enough. I put the cutout feet and shoes away and kept it a secret until 2017, he said. When he finally came clean about what had happened some 50 years earlier, after he'd actually pulled the prank, those who still remembered those events were shocked, to say the least. One man, Jimmy McGinty, had been just a child when he witnessed the tracks down by the river. I knew I wasn't crazy then, but he got me, he said. Well, there you go. I guess, I don't know. Again, that's why trackways are so important, though, right? So, are there people out there stomping with cutout feet? Sure. And maybe more than we'd like, but when you have a trackway, one of the things that they really examine is how does the foot change over different types of strata? In other words, If they're walking on pebbles versus walking on soft sand versus walking on pebbles and sand. I mean, a biological foot will change form a little bit to accommodate the different strata and the different densities that it runs into. But the cutouts remain absolutely static through all of that. And so there's no variation. So 50 years ago, there wasn't a lot of people that were really investigating trackways. Nowadays, you got guys like Jeff Meldrum and Cliff Barrickman and a number of other people that are pretty well trained in, tracking trackways, looking for inconsistencies, looking for the diversity of the print in different strata, looking for physiological markers such as the skeletal structure underneath the padding and all of that. And, so maybe 50 years ago, if that kind of knowledge was out there, this wouldn't have gotten anywhere. It would have been, this is just a hoax. But that was when it was really new. I mean, that was about the same era as when the Patterson-Gimlin film was cut, and not even the Jerry Cruz tracks and stuff were coming out, and so it was very new, and it was a very sensational thing to think that these things were out there. But to hold on to that for 50 years, I don't know why. Maybe he liked the idea of people thinking there was something more. Maybe it bumped up tourism. Maybe he had another vested interest. I don't know. But at any rate, it's very interesting, and I guess it's good that the truth finally did come out. However, if it's a wild place, I wouldn't be surprised if Bigfoot really was there, because they seem to be everywhere, folks. They don't need people hoaxing them for them to be there. They seem to be pretty much everywhere. But again, you be the judge. I'm just bringing you the news, and you make the determination what that means. So, kind of a good story. At least it came out. The truth came out eventually. It's unfortunate that it took 50 years for that to happen, but what do you do? Anyway, this concludes the news. The most trusted news. All right, I should get myself back on camera. There I am. All right, so that was the news. Hopefully you guys learned something and you felt like it was a good investment of your time and energy, and you leave here knowing a little more than you knew before. I think the big takeaway is don't cross the Atlantic with a hamster ball. That's not a good plan, and the Coast Guard's probably gonna arrest you for it. So, word to the wise. Anyway, I learned that today, and if you learned that as well, you're welcome. That's why we're the news you can trust, ladies and gentlemen. So, I guess next up is a segment of the show that I love, and it's why I pinned the comment on the top of the YouTube chat, is because it has to do with our Discord. If you're new to the show, you'll know that you should know that we have a Discord community. And if you enjoy the chat here on YouTube, then join the Discord community, because the very same people that are here chatting are also over in the Discord, continuing the chat, continuing the dialogues, and all kinds of other dialogues as well. So I hope you will check it out and get involved. Just click that link in the top of the YouTube chat, and that'll bring you there, and you will be presented with something that looks an awful lot like this. Because this is the Discord server, ladies and gentlemen. So here it is. This is the Discord. Over here is the lists of servers. These are the ones that I belong to, such as Hometown Ghost Stories. Great guys. Please get involved with their show. Look for them on YouTube and look for their podcast everywhere. Cade Moya's Believe. I got Sarah's Yowie Central. And we've got the Kev Baker Show, which is ZX81V2 has kept that alive. Even in the wake of Kev's passing, he's kept this wonderful community going. So that's always an option to get involved over there. It's a huge community, huge. So But this is the Paranormal Portal right here. And here's the chat threads. These are the different threads that you'll run into that are available. If you use your scroll wheel on your mouse, you can go up and down and look at all the different ones. If you're new to Discord, click the tutorial, Discord tutorials are right here. And there's some videos that are linked there that'll help you get your feet on the ground with how to use Discord. But basically, you just click on the different threads and get involved. So when you first join, you'll be brought to here. Ooh, got some new joiners. Everyone welcome. Asher Angel. Asher Angel, I'm going to wave to say hi. Irish Nuke is here, saying hi to Irish Nuke. A wild something, I don't know what this says, but I'm going to say hi. Again, it didn't, my Discord screws up and gives me chopped off names. So welcome everybody that's new to the community. Really glad you guys are here, and would love to see all of you guys here. So, oh, there's Barbara. Barbara, when she was at Phenomicon, actually. She was, oh, look at that handsome guy she's with. What's going on? I hung out with Barbara at Phenomicon in Vernal, Utah just this last week, a week ago now. So we had a great time. It was wonderful. Oh, look at this one. Look at the both of us, huh? Thank you. Well, that's cool. You posted those, Barbara. Thank you for doing that. So that was a lot of fun, but you'll see all these different chat threads in here. The Bigfoot, Dogman, Ghost, UFO, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, music, strange phenomena, paranormal library, and paranormal movies. So if you have a book, paranormal book you want to recommend, link it in there. If you got a movie that you like that has to do with paranormal, link it in there. If you have something that you make and want to sell, go up to the Portal Marketplace. Look at Chucky. He's just all kinds of sexy in that Paranormal Portal shirt. Thank you, sir, for all your support. That's awesome. He also bought the hoodie. That's Chucky Danger, our very own brother up there who actually handles the question of the week. But there's also crystals and jewelry and miscellaneous. And if you make something that you want represented in here and would like to see a category added to the marketplace to house that, just let us know. Let Chucky know, let me know, let any of our mods know, or Sheldon. And they can help by adding another thread in there to accommodate what you want. But I encourage our entire community. If you make something and you want to make it available to our community, just link it in here. Build your own links. So we got all kinds of stuff in here. But what we're looking for right now is the question of the week. And this is the question for tonight. This is Chucky again. He's kept this going. Thank you so much, Chucky. You're a superstar, brother. I appreciate it a bunch. Also want to point out the giveaways. This is where you can sign up to become eligible for the t-shirt giveaway. So let me go back there a quick second, because I've been doing the giveaway entries. We've got quite a few in here, but if you want to add your name to a possible giveaway of a shirt, a Paranormal Portal shirt, then put your name in here. Just say, yeah, enter me, whatever. Just a quick little remark, and I will add you to the giveaway pile. But you got to go into this giveaways thread and put your name in here so that I know that you're interested. Because I don't assume everybody's interested. I mean, I think most of you are, but some of you aren't. Oh, that's adorable. Look at that kitten raising his paw. That's so cute. All right, let's get back to the question of the week. This is, again, Chucky posted this question of the week for the Saturday show. Most of us are aware of the missing 411 phenomena. Do you think that some of the cases are related to Sasquatch? And do you think Sasquatch are eating the missing people? Or do you think this phenomena is caused by other factors? It's a great question, although it's a series of questions, really, but excellent thoughts. So let's see what's coming up. So somebody let me know who this is, because this is showing up as a letter P right now, which sucks. How do I know who that is? So I don't know why my Discord is doing this, but anyway, the first one up is aggravated progressive. Anybody in the chat, just please let me know. Aggravated progressive says gut reaction is portal related. Entity? Question mark. UFO? Not Samsquatches, as they don't seem to have a predilection to kill people. Yeah, that's true for the most part. Most Sasquatch encounters are very benign. It's just even the Sasquatch don't seem much bothered by it. Like, oh, yeah, looking out of the corner of their eye, they see you, and then they just go do what they want. They don't even really hurry in most cases. They're just like, oh, there's people, and then they just continued on. Okay, so that's Pineapple Tango. All right, thank you, Maggie. All right, so Pineapple Tango comes up next. Yes, I'm new here, y'all. Say hi. Hello, Pineapple Tango. Great to have you in our community. Thank you so much. Oh, wow, tough question. I don't think they would be eating people, but just like any other animal, they could unalive someone if they feel they are a threat. Good point. Just look at moose or hippos. They don't eat meat, but they are fully capable of unaliving us quite easily. But we don't know that much about Sasquatch, and maybe like us, there's outliers and have a more extreme diet. Just because one is friendly doesn't mean they all are. Good point. I think that there's plenty of evidence to suggest that there is a behavioral spectrum in the Sasquatch community, just like there is in the human community. There's people that'll bend over backwards to help you change a tire if they come on with some stranger. And there's other people that'd be happy just to hit a puddle to get you soaked as you're changing your tire. So we have this whole spectrum of behaviors in the human race. And I think it's probably quite similar to some degree because we can see that even in animals, even in dogs and cats. You can have one cat that just loves to snuggle and another one that you just soon rip your face off as, eat the food you're putting out. Some animals just are bizarre like that. But so it's not too much to think that in the Sasquatch, there could be some that hate people. Maybe it's a learned behavior. Maybe they've been shot at or saw some of their family shot at and wounded by some hunter that just couldn't get his head around the fact that there was a big bipedal creature out there. So, what's that? I don't know. Let's shoot it. That kind of thinking. And maybe they wounded someone they loved. And so after that, who only knows? God only knows. But it may have wounded that individual of that family group so much that it could no longer care for itself and needed complete attention. And if these are an intelligent being, it'd make me hate people if I saw someone I love get shot and, wounded to such a degree. So perhaps it's a learned behavior. Perhaps it's just they don't like what we're doing to the wild places around us. Any number of things. We don't know. It's all guesswork, but great points. Thank you for that. Karen Alberding comes up next, and she says, I think there are a lot of different factors. Sasquatch could definitely be a part of it, but also, as discussed last night, time warp or some things as well, where a person doesn't make it back. Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. There are also serial killers who have some of their victims never found, also predators like mountain lions. So I think there may be many reasons, few being Sasquatch. That's a good point. There's a lot of reasons somebody could disappear and maybe end up as a missing 411, but maybe there's a whole catalog of factors that can lead to somebody being a missing 411. Rachel 101 comes up next and says, I think most are other factors, maybe time slips or alien abduction. There could be cases where rogue Bigfoot are attacking and killing people. I don't think that they eat people, though. Their bodies could be hidden in bushes and consumed by any wildlife. Yeah, good point. Good point. I would say, though, that there are First Nation tribes who have a history possibly dating back thousands of years with these things who claim that they will come down and take people and eat them. I don't know that they observed it or just by virtue of the people never coming back. They just assumed they became food. I don't know. But, there is First Nations legend or at least stories that would indicate that sometimes people did get eaten, but I don't know what they're basing that on other than maybe the fact they just didn't come home. So they must have been food. Why else would you take something? So it could be. Anyway, I think is this Barbara? More of this, more of that? I don't know. It's just an M. Or is this Maggie? Maggie, I don't know. I just hate that this is the case. Other factors, thumbs up, and a star. So I think that was Maggie, but I could be wrong. I don't know why it does this. David Zeismer is next, and it's me, Maggie says. Okay, it's you. Gotcha. David Zeismer says, I think it's other factors. So, yeah, and I think it probably is too. I don't think it's any one thing. I think there are several factors because there's also quite a bit of diversity in the stories of people that are disappeared. Sometimes they find these piles of folded clothes and the shoes set very nicely, why? If a person did wander off, why would they ditch their shoes? but the shoes are found nicely on top of folded piles of clothes. So it seems sometimes that maybe it's something much more intelligent or capable. Maybe it's a UFO kind of thing. Maybe it's, God only knows. I don't know. I wish I knew, because I think it's the unknown that would be the hardest part of that to swallow. It's like, it's one thing to lose somebody you love, but it's another thing entirely to never know how they were lost. It's the big unknown. Could they be alive out there somewhere? Could they, I would have to, have a whole spectrum of emotions like that. So, but I think those responses were great. There weren't as many tonight, but that's okay. I mean, we do 3 of these a week. So if you don't mind becoming a part of the discussion, please watch for those posts and please take part in them, because I love knowing what you guys think. Again, throughout the course of the show, you guys hear my opinion on a lot of stuff, but this is my opportunity to hear yours, and even to pick up new insights that I never may have come up with. David Zeismer comes in again and says, or maybe they just don't want to be found. That's a good point. Sometimes people just want to disappear because maybe whatever life they're leaving is way too painful than just to start over. So they disappear themselves, and they have a pretty good plan and go on and reappear themselves somewhere else. Who knows? That's a good point. That doesn't get discussed very much, but that's a great take. I think it's harder nowadays than ever before to do that with, the identification factors that are required for so many things. But I guess there's a black market for everything. So if you want something bad enough, you can probably find a way to do it. But great takes, guys. I appreciate your input. I would like to think that Bigfoot don't eat people, but I don't know if that's a safe assumption or not. And I sure wouldn't bet my life on it, because obviously if something is hungry enough, for whatever reason, let's say it's a sick Bigfoot and it's starving, and starving is agony. Starving is an agonizing thing. And so if you're in constant pain, just, your body's crippled in pain just due to hunger, and you see this human being walking by, I mean, it's like a sandwich, skipping by. It's such easy, low-hanging fruit. It's like, well, maybe it would become an option if you got desperate enough, or if you were watching someone you love starve as well. And it's like, well, I could stop this. I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that wouldn't happen, but I don't know. And we don't know enough about these things to know for sure. So perhaps some of them are. Some of them are maybe natural factors, just falling into caves, Some of the missing 411 things. There's so many correlation with natural caves and the missing 411 maps that you got to believe that maybe people are just falling into cave chutes and breaking a neck on the way down, and they can't yell for help. They're because they're done. They're expired, but they're just in an unrecoverable place, and nobody's going to find them. If they descend 100 feet into a rocky chasm that's hidden by bushes and stuff, well, who's going to know? You probably wouldn't even hear the scream, just because it's, any number of factors. But just, I don't think it's any one thing, but I think it's certainly a possibility that some of these disappearances are perhaps perpetuated by Sasquatch or other things like Dogman. But we don't know. So great question, though. Thank you, Chucky. I appreciate it, brother. And this is the Discord, so if you don't mind being involved, we'd love to have you get involved and become part of it. This is a lot of fun, and like I said, it's great to hear what you guys think about this stuff, because hell, nobody knows for sure. And again, there are no wrong answers. Any idea you have is just as valid as anyone else's. So don't worry about saying something and think, oh, I look stupid. Don't do that. Because your ideas are just as valid as anybody's, mine and everyone else's included, because we're dealing with a whole realm of unknowns. So there's nothing too outlandish to put down. The only thing I ask is that they remain, at least sincere. Just the past couple of weeks, been running into some comedy responses, and it's like, it's not really the nature of the discussion. So please keep it sincere. Keep your answers sincere. Whatever you really think is fine. Just don't make a parody of it, because this isn't the place where I want to do a bunch of creative writing and reading. So, but anyway, thank you all that got involved. I appreciate it a bunch. And let's get back to the rest of our journey. I'm going to do this. There it is. Wait, where do I do that? There it is. Okay. All right, folks. That was the question of the week. Thank you, everybody that got involved. RJ Windwalker, yo, Brent, would you be cool if I put the Paranormal Portal a logo on my skateboard decks? Yeah, for sure. I'd be honored. Take a photo of it, would you please? Send it to me. I'd be absolutely honored, man, for sure. Please. That's wonderful. That'd be really, really, really cool. RJ, thank you so much. Just the only thing I ask is send me a photo. Or send me a skateboard deck with it on there. Look great on the walls in here is all I'm saying. All right. Yeah, that's brilliant. Of course, that'd be great. I'm fascinated anytime you guys would want to use the logo. I mean, if it's okay. Yeah, that's a real honorable thing. I'm blown away. I'm almost speechless. But yeah, brother, that'd be really cool. All right. So, let's see. What are we going to do now? What should we do now? Let me look. What do I have pulled up? I got some options pulled up. I wasn't quite sure where we were going to go. Oh, yeah, this is where we're going to go. Since I was just in Utah last week, as were some of you, my cat likes to rub against my microphone. I'm constantly getting fur up my nostrils as I'm trying to talk. It's like, oh. All right. So we were in Vernal, Utah last week, as was mentioned, as we attended Phenomicon, and had a great time. First of all, if any of you are available next year, they're going to have it on the week of September 4th. So you have plenty of planning time to put it together. So I hope you will make it. It would be a lot of fun to meet more of you guys over there. So again, that's in Vernal, Utah. It's a 4-day event, and they have the cast of the Mysteries of Skinwalker Ranch is there. Usually Expedition Bigfoot has been there for 2 years in a row. I don't know if they went the first year, but I know that Russ Accord lives in the area, so he's always going to be there. He's one of the people, and a wonderful guy, just a really fascinating guy. And Ronnie LeBlanc and Dr. Maria Mayer, all three of them are just really incredible people. I've never met Bryce, but I assume he's also a real good guy. But it's a great chance to meet and network and hear people talk. You get to hear presentations by the Skinwalker Ranch team and the individuals, as well as the Expedition Bigfoot people talking about their show and what they've experienced and seen. And there's question and answer, and there's so much to go for. So again, this next year at September, we're going to be there. We're absolutely going to be there. So I hope you guys will be there too, or at least more of you can be there. So if you're in the region, or you can be in the region, we had Marie Dumont, who is from Mid-Florida Bigfoot's investigations. She came, and she's from Florida. We had one guy there was from France. Yeah. Virgil was from France. Virgil's a nice guy. We did a podcast episode with him, recorded just to talk about his journey, what he's done, and it was a lot of fun to talk to him. Just a wonderful guy. And so, I mean, it's global. There's people coming from all over the world to see this event. So it'd be great if some of you guys could make the journey. Again, it's like a week long. So, even if you got a camp, find a campground and hook it up. The weather's still really nice. So, let's see. What was I going to do? Yes, I know what I was going to do. But I ran across this article, and I've had it for a long time up and just never used it. But I thought, God, this would be kind of cool to look into, because you don't hear a lot about this kind of stuff in the U.S. And this is an article from utahstories.com, and it's from August 23rd of 2018 by Danny B. Stewart. And let me do this. I don't need Don's camera open. If I can figure out where it is exactly. There it is. We'll just close that. But this is from the Fairy Folk of Utah. And I know that a lot of First Nations have legends and stories of these little people or little diminutive beings, sometimes magical, sometimes very seemingly terrestrial. But I thought, well, this would be interesting. What are the stories of the Fairy Folk of Utah? So let's let's dig into this and find out. I know that Utah is a very, very interesting place. We also did a bit of an investigation near Skinwalker Ranch, which was really cool. That'll be in an upcoming video as well. Also doing one next weekend from St. Ignatius, the hospital in Washington State. So next week, I guess I should mention it, that Friday, Saturday, there won't be a live show because I will be investigating both those nights over in Washington State. So Don's going to be with me as well, so it should be good. I'm bringing him along this time, and he will be on the investigation with me. So, but this is the fairy folk of Utah. So let's see what it says. Again, from utahstories.com. And there's a bunch here. It's not a paranormal site, but I just thought it's interesting. So for centuries, we've heard tales of people have had sightings of enchanted diminutive humanoids. Their stories are found all over the globe, even in Utah. I've spent my entire life studying folklore and legends because of this. I have accumulated an almost encyclopedic knowledge of nature spirit lore, or as most people have come to know them, fairies. A little background. According to ancient philosophers, there are 4 distinct species of nature spirit. There are the gnomes, or the earth spirits, and they aid in all botanical growth and are the most abundant and easiest to come into contact with. Next, there are the sylphs, or air spirits. These are the winged fairies known via pop culture and Lisa Frank. It must be understood that cute fairy archetype is primarily a Victorian creation. Then we have the undines, or water spirits, and these are our mermaids, kelpies, sirens, the sea goddesses of the ancients, and lastly, we have the salamanders, or the spirits of fire. Most misunderstood and most powerful of the nature spirits. No spark, no flame can exist without their aid. It's kind of funny because salamanders are usually found in really wet, moist environments, so it's weird that they're the archetypes of fire. But anyway, Utah County has a large population of fairy folk, and that is if you take into account all of the local sightings and stories I have collected over the last 20 years. I've been paying extra close attention to an area between Columbia Lane, 800 North, 1800 South, Orem, and Sand Hill Road. This is an area I've dubbed the Provo Vortex. A term of my own making. I call it this because of all the bizarre events that I've reported here. In April of 2013, at approximately 1 a.m., a man and a woman claimed to have seen a small humanoid in the garden that used to sit next to Grandview Elementary. It was gardening in the moonlight. Incidentally, Grandview Elementary is haunted. The couple stood and watched the humanoid for about 5 minutes until it stood up and faced them. They were about 30 feet away from it. And although they couldn't make out any details of the creature, it looked at them with a "what the hell you looking at" mentality. Sensing they should mind their own business, the couple backed away from the situation and left the area. The two of them reported multiple Fae-related occurrences over the course of that summer. Every once in a blue moon, I offer what I call a fairy walk, usually after midnight, for small groups of people to and around Provo Lions Park. This is a hotbed of mysterious activity and has been a central part of my research. I don't tell stories or anything on this walk. I just ask the attendees to keep their eyes and ears open, and without fail, several group members return asking, "What the hell did I just see? Or is that what I think it was?" They return with reports of encountering small beings darting around the park and the surrounding neighborhood. Small balls of light scurrying around the ground, displacing time, more on that in a different article, and the most interestingly of all, music that cannot be compared to anything the witnesses have ever heard. A beautiful music that originates out of thin air. In the spring of 2014, I led one of these walks to Lions Park, and Tabby Mason was walking near the pathway on the southwest side of the park when she says she saw a 20-foot tall pale humanoid. It was naked and appeared to be emaciated and sad. It was standing next to a dead tree that was covered in ivy. Historically, ivy overgrowth is a gnome sign. The appearance of this tree made her feel very uneasy, but the simultaneous appearance of smaller beings accompanied with the chiming of mysterious bells helped to calm her. Vineyard City, Utah is also home to some interesting stories. I had taken a few of my former students out for a ferry walk around the Vineyards Lakeside Sports Park, and it is here that Tara E. Taylor saw something very strange. Tara was walking along the far west side of the bank when she saw a white cat walking across her path and when the cat morphed into a 1-foot tall humanoid. It looked at her, smiled, and then morphed back into a cat. That's a little odd. I'm not making any claims with these stories. I'm just presenting a few of the many stories I have stumbled upon. True or not, Utah is an interesting place. Danny B. Stewart is an anomalologist, a scientist of anomalies, a performance artist, teacher, lecturer, and professional storyteller. And when he was a small child, he used to play with a 2-foot tall creature that wore yellow overalls under a dead tree next to his house. Is that it? Is that the whole thing? That's a little awkward. Okay. Well, there you go. Wow. That's a very abrupt ending. What the hell is there? It must be a page 2 or something. What am I not doing here? 2 votes. Can that just be it? Well, there you go. I think I'm going to leave it open though, and I'm trying to reach out to this Danny B. Stewart and see if we can get him on the podcast. It'd be interesting to hear, but I can't believe it's just 1 page and it just stopped like suddenly. Come on, Danny, what the hell? There's so much more to say. So much more to read. Am I missing it? I'm just going to scroll again here and see. Did I miss something? What the hell? No, that's it. That's the whole thing here, I guess. I assume there's a larger form of this article somewhere. Let me just refresh it just to see if... No? Okay. Yeah, it's just like, boom, done. And it stops with 3 ellipses. So where the hell's the read more or something? Okay, I don't know. I don't know what the hell just happened here, but something happened. Is there maybe on the top? Is there a page 2 something on top? Nope. Just under folklore. Okay, well, that's all I can bring you, unfortunately. But I'm going to take a note here to reach out to this guy if there's some way to do it. Yeah, his name is Danny B. Stewart. I found the stories absolutely fascinating. It's too bad it just kind of stopped like that, though. I mean, it's a subscribe kind of thing, so maybe that's what it is. It's a teaser to try to get you to sign in, but I'm gonna have to look into this. Danny B. Stewart. Danny B. Stewart. F-E-A-R-I-E-S of Utah. Okay. I'm going to see if I can get in touch with this guy, because he'd be fascinating to talk to. I'd love to hear more about what he has to say and, to I don't know, exchange ideas and thoughts with him. But yeah, that's an abrupt ending for sure. I wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting that at all. This is I guess it's the join our newsletter, but yeah, it's not so good. Not so good. I'll have to reach out. I'm going to leave this site up because I want to know more. What can I say? Very strange. Yeah, it was, John. Very unusual. James Fedke. I've only seen it once, but I saw all white large cat squaring up with an all white fox. Wow. That must have been a hell of a sight, huh? Wouldn't it be strange if I said, caught a glimpse of Cenurius once? Oh, yeah, the nature god. Yeah. That'd be fascinating, actually. It wouldn't surprise me. Again, the thing is that these folklores, and folklore is kind of a dismissive term. And what it is these are old religions, but we just call them folklores now in light of the new, modern dominant religions. So they're kind of diminished in a sense, but I believe everything has spirit. Everything has spirits because I believe that everything erupted from a divine source. And so by that, it would imply at least that some of that divine source exists in everything that is. And so that's why I think it's important to regard the world around us with gentle, kind hands as much as possible, because to do so, you're honoring the divine nature of which it came. But could there also be personalities attached to that? And I don't see why not. We have personalities, and why would that be any different for anything else? So, is it possible there are these elemental type spirits that are out there, but they're very much feeling and intelligent, and sometimes I've often pondered that some of the most aggressive hauntings may actually be some pissed off elementals and not always demon. Like, I always hear the term demon thrown around like it's somebody throwing frisbees back and forth. But I think there's a lot of things that can get angry and to, have feel rage and anger towards what we do and what has been done. So certainly when it comes to places that didn't maybe used to have anything on it, but were natural places, and then they build a house there and all of a sudden they got this aggressive haunting. It's like, well, something lived there. Something's not real happy what you did to it. And it's not liking this. So rather than look at that, we often think, oh, this must be demons, must be dark, shadowy spirits or something. But maybe these other things are there. So jinn is possible too. I mean, again, jinn is a term, and it has an origin story within Islamic study having to do with, being a precursor to humans. They were apparently formed by the blue flame, whereas we were formed of dust and dirt. And so they're a divine thing that were asked, apparently according to the Quran, they were asked to, bow down before humans, and they refused and said that they would torment humans. Now, that is also not to imply that all jinns are evil, because there's plenty of stories to suggest that some jinns are actually benevolent and are not hell-bent on the destruction of humans. But seems that many of them are, at least according to prevailing theories. But anyway, I just think that the terms aren't really as important. So you hear the term fairy and you think, oh, geez, really, Tinkerbell? Come on. These are old terms. They're old terms of understanding. And so the terms constantly change. But does that invalidate the phenomena just because the term has become something else? It doesn't invalidate the origin or what it was at the source. And what it was at the source probably still exists out there. I don't think that the world has changed all that much, except that it's more modern now. But, these nature spirits, I'm sure, are still out there and still trying to subsist and make the best of what they can with our world. So I don't know. Again, just thoughts. Am I right? I have no idea. I think what I'm thinking makes sense, but I could be just as wrong as anybody else. So again, believe what you want. There's no right or wrong, but just some thoughts. Just some thoughts is all I'm saying. Just some thoughts. But speaking of thoughts, we're going to start thinking about some Sasquatch Chronicles, because we're going to get to the creatures, the cryptid corner, starting now. We had a little blip on the ghost radar, didn't we? Little blip over here on the ghost radar. Right there. Right there. It's about off screen now. Huh. Don't know what happened there. It just, it didn't even show up. It didn't even log it. So whatever that was, it didn't log. Now, lately, just for a point of reference, sometimes this ghost radar pops off a lot in a night. But the last several nights has been almost nothing. But last night, it had been quiet all night. I was talking about, God, what was I talking about? Something to do with Loch Ness Monster or something. Or we were talking about other creatures that exist outside of Champ and Lake Champlain. And it spit out one word. Now, it wasn't directly correct, but it definitely was within the realm of what we were talking about. It said halibut. Halibut came out of the ghost radar last night. I thought, wow, that's interesting, because it was in the ballpark of what we were talking about with aquatic creatures. It said halibut. So largely the word database on this has been kind of ridiculous. But once in a while, it spits out something really kind of on point. So I don't know. You be the judge. But the Ghost Radar primarily is up here just because it should detect magnetic anomalies or electromagnetic anomalies and put them on this circle screen like a radar. So the middle is, of course, the computer tower, which is right down by my feet. And so anything on the top half of that circle would be back by the camera back there. And anything on the bottom would be back me and back to the wall. So I don't know. You be the judge. Did something disappear? No, nothing appeared. Okay. So I mostly have it up there for that, but sometimes it still spits out a word that's kind of like, wow, it was kind of relevant. So are there Scottish halibut? I don't know. Maybe Rachel. Herbivore, that is. Yeah. Well, anyway, let's go to the next thing. We're going to go to Sasquatch Chronicles blog and discuss some cryptids because, by God, we love our cryptids. And following up from fairies, it seems like a natural transition, I think. All right. The snap of plastic. Okay, so this is Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Ladies and gentlemen, please support what it's doing. It says, the creature begins to circle us. September 15th. A listener writes, I've had an encounter with a dog man back in August of 2021 in the state of California where I reside. At the time of the encounter, I was homeless. I lost everything at that time due to COVID-19 outbreak, lost my business, lost my dream car. All I had left was my old minivan and my dog. I was forced to live in my van for a while until I was able to get back onto my feet. I suffer from PTSD due to a trauma I experienced growing up. This one particular evening, my PTSD was really triggered that evening and I could not calm myself down, so I decided to drive myself to the hospital. On my way to the hospital, my van breaks down. My van was an older van and I was having electrical issues. I pull off to the side of the road. I wasn't too far away from the hospital. I get my dog out of the van and we start to walk the rest of the way to the ER. I get to the hospital and had to walk through a very large unused crop field to get to the hospital. I had to walk through a large unused crop field. As we were walking through this field, we were about in the middle of this large field that had grass growing and was up to my hips. Well, I'm 5'8", and from out of nowhere, we get charged by this large coyote-looking animal that at the time was on all fours. Well, I'm holding onto my dog's leash, and the large coyote-looking animal, or dog man, lunges at my dog. I pull my dog away from the creature, and I pick up my dog in my arms, and I'm holding my dog in my arms, and the creature begins to circle us, and then it charges forward at us again. This time it's about 3 feet from us as it lunges at us. It was going after my dog, and it stands up, reaches out to grab my dog out of my arms, and when it stood up, it was a little over 6 feet tall and had to weigh around 400 pounds. I quickly move us out of the way. Then it drops back down on all fours and runs off into the field. God, that's got to be a freaking stroke. You know, so where my mind went, just so you know how my head works, I was like, well, I bet you feel a little better about your PTSD after that was over. Because it's like if you've got a dog man lunging at you, suddenly you've got a lot bigger problems than having PTSD. You've got, I mean, my God, that's absolutely terrifying. So he was able to save his dog from this lunging dog man, which obviously wasn't trying to hurt him. It was just going for the dog. I don't know what kind of dog, he doesn't say. But it's obviously small enough that he could lift it and move around with it without being too encumbered. So it's not like a St. Bernard anyway. We can be pretty sure about that. But God, that's got to be a nightmare. So anyway, that's the end of the story. I guess we don't know much more about that than that. But yeah, so the first comment is 3 feet away from you, shivers. That's creepy. Yeah, I don't know what that would look like, but I don't want to know what that would look like either. I mean, there's some cryptids. Actually, for most cryptids, I'm good with not really seeing them. I'm good with the ghost stuff, but I'm not sure I want to see something that's so big and dangerous physically in front of me. I mean, that would be a whole different kind of, oh my God moment. So that's terrifying. Anyway, I'm glad it worked out. Glad the dog was okay. I assume this person was able to get things back together and sort out their life, but what a nightmare. Oh. All right, let's go to the next one. This, again, is Sasquatch Chronicles. And this is from August 31st. It's a little older. Has to do with some light anomalies, and there is some video here, too, so I guess we could look at that. But this is strange activity on property. A listener writes, Dear Wes, I'm writing to you in regards to share some trail cam photos and videos that I have. The trail camera photos are taken in mid-eastern Georgia in the year of 2022. And the videos are videos from tonight. I guess I don't know when he sent the email, but the trail camera photos have baffled my friends and me, and we've laughed at them just off as something in the woods. The photos are at night and show big reflective eyes at a distance of roughly 25 yards from the camera and are at a height of about 10 feet. The eyes are over an ATV trail, and the series of photos has since never set right with me because of the apparent outline of a face if I zoomed in. I don't know how you can see a face in that, but there it is. And apparently that's about 10 feet over the trail. So, The video is, what is this now? Okay, so then it says the video is I was taking and sharing with my brother tonight, 8/30/23. During the blue moon, my brother texted me and told me to look and send me a photo. So I stepped outside and took some photos and then sent them to him. But wanting a video, I stepped outside to my yard to record the moon in a video so I could screenshot a more perfect photo. I have 2 videos with what I can only describe as orbs of green/blue light. I tried. I have no idea where that was. It was a big hiss, but I don't see any balls, so must mean it's on my lap somewhere. I guess settle in. It's story time. So it said, I have 2 videos with what I can only describe as orbs of green and blue light. I try to follow the orbs somewhat, but the orbs just dart and move very fast. All right, so we're going to look at this. For those of you on YouTube, you're going to see it with me. But I can tell you, if you already have the moon in frame, the orbs are most likely lens flares, because lens flares they're not uncommon at all. They're in fact very, very common and are most likely the culprit at hand. But let's look at the video. I don't mean to preemptively shoot it down, but just looking at the still that they have on the screen here, there's a bright moon to the right of center. And then just a little higher, but on the opposite side of the center, there's a green dot. And lenses are concave, so they're dome shaped, right? Lenses are dome shaped. So automatically, whenever light hits a dome shape of crystal like that, is going to refract light to the opposite side. In this case, a little bit diagonally, but on the opposite side of the frame. And then some of that refracted light that gets sent over to the opposite side of the dome is going to be reflected by the glass down into the aperture. That's how light orbs are generated when you have a strong source, either directly in the frame or near the frame. But I'm going to look at the motion of this. I think I know what's going on already, because even if the motion doesn't match the camera to the orb, a lot of cameras have automatic stabilization, so they try to cancel a bunch of the rough movement and make a smooth motion artificially by moving the frame around to match the motion. And so that can make the orbs look like they're traveling differently than the camera holder, but they're probably not. But let's look at this, and you can be the judge. Yeah, see, he's going... Yeah, that was very, very apparently mimicking. So he Come on, get off of there. I'm going to go frame by frame on this. For those of you that are listening on TFR Live, just bear with me. This is a very visual exercise. Okay, so he's moving as you see, the moon is moving more to the right of the frame, but as it's happening, the refracted light is moving to the opposite side of the frame. Now he's going back towards center. The moon is moving back towards center. The moon is moving from my right to the center, and the orb is traveling from the left to the center in exactly the same motion. So this is just a lens flare. This isn't anomalous at all. And some of the motion is independent, but again, that's going to be image stabilization that's built into so many cameras or into lenses. If it's a cell phone, it's automatically built into the tool. But if it's a camera with a removable lens, it probably has the smooth motion built into the lens. So now the moon is moving down and the orb is going up. Yeah, it's just simple refraction. So unfortunately, this is just a lens flare. I don't believe that. It's actually the same kind of stretching for the motion. The distance of the stretching of the light is identical. So that's what we're looking at here. So when you're watching these, pay attention to that. A lot of people don't get me wrong. I understand the excitement of wanting to, find anomalies in photos. And when you find them, it's just exciting as hell. I don't blame people for saying, hey, what do you think? But what I don't like is the pushback. It's like, well, when somebody comes with a little more of an idea of the mechanics, you don't shut them down because it doesn't agree with what you want it to say. That's where I start having a problem with this. But yeah, this is very sincerely just lens flares moving because there's a strong light source of the moon. If you ever try to take photos of the moon, you'll see how brightly it glows compared to your naked eye. The camera apertures are so much more sensitive. So it's mirroring the motion of the camera to the opposite side, back and forth. So this is just a lens flare, folks. I just think it's important to try to pass this knowledge as much as I can on to people because there's plenty of phenomenal, amazing stuff going on. And what you can debunk doesn't take away from the phenomena itself. It's just removing false positives. So please just, understand that it's not me attacking anybody, but it's just me trying to share some knowledge that I have to help people understand what they're looking at. There's too many confirmation biases out there right now in this stuff. Too many pictures of leaves and bushes with red circles saying that there's families of Sasquatch in there. I don't mean to attack at all, but I think it is important to look at this stuff critically through the eyes of logic first. And once it passes that muster, you got something incredible. But you don't have to make everything incredible. It's okay. It's okay if you catch a false positive. It's a chance to learn and grow and to teach. So that's my objective here, and I hope you guys understand that. It's not an attack. It's just not. So anyway, there you go. I hope you guys didn't mind that, but cheers for Brand. Oh, thanks, Rachel. Thank you. Debunked. Wizard Moon debunked. Yeah, it's okay. It's not, again, I love the genuine captures, and I love when it passes the challenge of known artifacts from photography. If you can pass through that and still have an anomaly, that's amazing. That is phenomenal, and that's exciting. But if you start passing stuff like this off as real anomalies, and then it gets, sent out for people to look at, there's a lot of people that have a lot more knowledge than I do about this stuff. They're going to tear it apart. They're going to shred it. And then it hurts your credibility. So I just want to make sure the evidence is evidence. So that's my take on it. Whatever that means to you. I hope you guys appreciate that. Because I'm not doing it to attack anybody. But let's go to the next article. And this one is from Sasquatch Chronicles. And this is from August 31st. My brother and uncle pulled their firearms out. A listener writes, I'm 23 years old, and I've lived in Tucson, Arizona all my life. I don't want to make this long and winded, but there's a lot to my experience and history with my family cabin. My family cabin resides in Pine Top, Arizona, so close to Sholo. I don't know what Sholo is. We very often take quick weekend vacations to either snowboard, hunt, fish, or just get away. My brothers and I would frequently wander off behind the cabin, following the creek that opens up to miles of seemingly untouched forest. Back in the early summer of 2013, myself, my older brother, my uncle, and my friend at the time all decided we would play airsoft in the middle of the night, sometime around 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. Wow. The forest that surrounds the cabins is quite dense and scattered about our other people's cabins. That night the moon was maybe half full, but was just enough to let some scattered light in through the trees to see 5 or 6 feet ahead. When we started our game, we decided we would start on either side of the cabin and made rules where we were not allowed to cross over the creek, the parallel cabin just 40 yards off the west side, and not to cross a further up road paralleling the cabin from the east. Me and my friend started on the west side, slowly making our way into the dense wooded area behind our cabin. It was very quiet and easy to hear every crunch of every step along the way, being careful not to trip because of limited sight. My friend stopped me at about 50 feet from where we started and told me he really had to use the bathroom. And at this time, I would say about 10 minutes had elapsed from our start. So without argument, he made his way back to the cabin. At the time, I was thinking he was just afraid of the dark and just wanted to go call his girlfriend. About 2 minutes later, I heard a loud crash and someone tumble about 40 yards from the east side of the cabin where my brother and uncle would be. I squeezed my finger into the trigger of the gun, laying down some fire in that direction. Again, this is an airsoft gun that shoots little white BBs. After letting up, I heard my uncle laugh and curse at the branch that made him trip and tumble down the incline they were on. My brother shot back a couple of times but didn't hit me. I ran and took cover into the bank behind me that bordered the creek, knowing they wouldn't be able to hit me even if they shot. It became very quiet after that for a good while. I heard their voices pick up in whispers until they were calling my name, asking where I was. I was very hesitant to reveal my position, knowing that they could be ready to lay down fire on me, until my brother said, "Colton, I'm not playing around. Where are you? Where's your friend?" The tone of his voice alarmed me, and it became clear he was being serious. So I got up and rose from the bank and yelled out to him, revealing where I was and explaining my friend went inside. He then explained he thought we managed to make our way to his side and approach him from the untouched woods. We decided to meet up at the small path that was in front of both groups, about 20 yards ahead. When we met up, my brother yelled, "Game over! We're done messing around! Stop messing with us!" My brother and uncle then proceeded to pull their actual firearms, with me in between them, one facing towards the open woods and one facing the cabin just 100 feet ahead, with both their guns drawn. We continued to walk towards the cabin. The moment my foot touched the volcanic gravel that surrounded the cabin, this absolutely loud, piercing noise that almost sounded as if you took 2 giant boulders and managed to clack them together rang out all around us, not knowing where it was coming from. At hearing this horrible noise, our line immediately broke and we all ran straight inside, panicking. The rest of the night we were fear-stricken and our blood ran cold. This is my encounter with what I think to be a Sasquatch. I have some other weird occurrences out in the woods, like finding an area of lots of cattle bones in the vicinity of the cabin. The cabin itself harbors weird paranormal energy that's easiest to explain in words. I have lots of little stories about that too. Well, there you go. That's pretty creepy. Nighttime stuff. When I was young, we used to do that kind of stuff. Just go out and play a game called like Kick the Can and stuff. And where we lived was very, very wooded. And I think, as a kid, you don't think twice about it. I used to put on a ninja suit and go run through the woods at night. up in the area where I eventually, not quite as high up, but up in the wooded area near where I was growled at a 14-year-old. So I mean, I didn't think twice about it then because I'd grown up there. I knew all the sounds until I was growled at. And then I didn't know what was up there anymore, and it changed my entire attitude about running around at night in the woods. So it became something I didn't do after that, obviously. But that's creepy. That is really, really creepy stuff. So amazing. Just simply amazing. There's all kinds of freaky out there, folks. All right, so this is the one we read last time. So we're going to get here. Where are we at for time? 8:28. We have literally just over a half hour left. Wow. It's gone pretty fast. So we're going to head over to Phantoms and Monsters. Again, a week from this next Wednesday, the following week, the 27th, Mr. Lon Strickler will be joining us right here on the portal. And we'll get into all the weirdness and 40 and goodies that he covers on Phantoms and Monsters, but it's going to be a great show. Lon's been on the show a couple times already and is a lot of fun to talk to. So I hope you guys will tune in, but that'll be live right here on YouTube Wednesday nights, the 27th. So please watch for that. Mark your calendars and have questions ready, things you'd like to ask Lon, because he's been at this for a long time. He knows his stuff. And again, please support Phantoms and Monsters and check out Lon's podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio, as well as the website, phantomsandmonsters.com. And find his YouTube. His YouTube is Phantoms and Monsters on YouTube. And he's been working really hard on that and wants to increase his subscriber base. So if you like this stuff, and I assume you do because you're still here, then you're probably going to love Phantoms and Monsters as well. So go check it out. So I'm going to try to read this. This is obviously some very different words than what I'm used to speaking. The Wangkatha Nation elder describes the Gaarmbuno, Australia's man-eating hairy hominid. This one goes out for you, Maggie, and all of our friends from down under in Oz. So I've not heard of a Wangkatha Nation elder. I don't know. Is that an Aboriginal, I imagine? But the Gaarbuno, or Bunyo, or Buno, the Gaarbuno, Australia's man-eating hairy hominid. Again, man-eating. I don't know, Chucky. The Wangkatha Nation elder named Genevieve describes the Gaarbuno, a tall, hairy hominid that inhabits Western Australia. She warns that this beast has a taste for human flesh. That is creepy. I have a story I want to share with you of what my old people taught me. I'm a First Nation Australian and an elder of the Wangkatha Nation in Western Australia. A word of warning, when you're in the desert, you have to stick together. There are many dangers, but if you listen to what the old people say, you'll be all right. Our people have been in the desert since the dream time. We are Wangkatha. That is also the name of our language. We've spoken the same language for over 60,000 years. The Europeans only just got here in the 1800s. Our people know the desert and everything in it and how to survive and be safe. There are some places that are especially dangerous because of who lives there. The Gaarmbuno are very tall and covered all over in long black hair. They look like a giant hairy man. They live in the rocky caves, and these days, they even live in the old abandoned mine shafts left over from the gold rush. They capture adults and children, throw them over into their enormous shoulders, and carry them back to their dark caves and mine shafts. They kill and eat them. They leave big piles of animal and human bones all around their lair. Yikes. That sounds absolutely horrible, but it's not unlike the Zunaqua legend that Tom Seawood talks about with the Klakakuwak tribe in the Pacific Northwest. Talks about picking up children and putting it into the basket over her shoulder and taking them away. It says, if a person or child isn't keeping up with the group when traveling on foot through these areas, the Gaarmbuno will catch them. This is a real danger. Don't wander off alone and keep up with your group. Don't stray behind, or you'll end up in his lair surrounded by many bones before he eats you too. Ugh, that's creepy as hell. I mean, you just think about it. As a grown up, as an adult, you have a feeling like, I take care of myself. I do all right. I mean, my scrapping days are all the way behind me and stuff, but not that I ever had many, but I used to think, well, I can take care of myself. I, studied the martial arts for years and years and taught and did all that. But when you think of something that's that big and so powerful, so very powerful, what would you do? I just don't know. I don't think you do anything other than hope to God somebody can help you or some bodies can help you, because whatever these things are, you're not going to get away. Maggie says, thanks. One more thing to worry about. Seriously, though, thanks. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, sometimes that old saying is true. Ignorance is bliss. But just don't fall behind, Maggie. That's the key. Keep up with everyone else and you'll be fine. Apparently, they don't like to attack groups. They like to just disappear the slow ones. And it's kind of a natural thing, too, I think. Like nature excels at, the predators, like wolves and stuff. They watch the packs for a long time, and they figure out which is the slow ones, which ones are old or having more trouble, or the young, and they can dispatch easily. And they thin the herd, but, it sounds almost like we're the elk, in this situation. And, I guess what do you do? But God only, my heart goes out to anybody who has to have that as their last memory. Like, really? That's the way you leave this? Is by being dragged away to become food? Oh, my heart just breaks to think about that possibility. Oy vey. But anyway, I guess we all learned a little something. Again, the name was Garunbuno. I think. I'm probably just beating the hell out of that name. My apologies to all the First Nations of Australia. I'm not a very worldly person, but I'm doing my best. So anyway, let's continue on and go to the next one, which isn't here. That page doesn't exist anymore. But is it here? Okay. Now we're going to go to a black-eyed man. Old, pale, black-eyed man. Is this a cryptid? Kind of not. More just an unknown weird phenomena thing, I think. But maybe these are a cryptid. Maybe the black-eyed kids and the black-eyed adults are some kind of cryptid. It's hard to say. But it says, old, pale, black-eyed man encountered in my Columbus, Ohio neighborhood. Again, Ohio. Ohio's always a hotbed for weirdness. See what this one says. A factory worker was driving home early in a dark morning when he approached an old man walking down the street. As he gets nearer, he realizes that his situation is much more anomalous than he imagined. Lon says, I received the following account. I work in a factory during the graveyard shift from 10 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. in Columbus, Ohio. That night, I was actually working my 6th day in a row for overtime. I've had this job for quite a while, and I'm used to this kind of schedule. I'm bringing this up because typically after I get home, I'm still wide awake and tend to sleep later in the day. I was totally alert when this happened. I ended up leaving work early since I completed a lot more orders than usual, and I was on my way home at around 4:30 a.m. I turned down the side street that leads to my apartment complex, and I immediately noticed it's quite dark, and the streetlights are not illuminated. The suburb I live around uses streetlights that have sensors so they light up when people walk by them and turn off by themselves to save energy. As I noticed it was dark, I decided to turn on my brights in my car. I'm only 6 blocks away from our home in this point and come around a small bend in the road that leads up to a children's park and the only stop sign on the street between my apartment, which is a few blocks further. I noticed something in the middle of the road. My first thoughts that it was some stacked garbage that maybe blew off the curb into the street. But as I drove closer, I slowed down as I realized it was a person walking down the street with their back to me. It seemed like an old person, a very old person. Actually, by the way they were walking, I slowed down. Don't slow down a lot because it was very odd. I didn't know if they were going to jump in front of my car or what, since there were well-maintained sidewalks less than 10 feet for them to use. The next thing I notice is the clothing. The person was walking slowly, almost waddling, and was wearing a hooded jacket with the hood up and their hands inside the front pouch, sweatpants, and soaking wet slippers due to the light rain without socks. This person was about 3 car lengths away from the stop sign, and I was close now, getting ready to stop and ask if they needed help or something. As soon as I was about to get right behind him, adjacent, this person who I then saw was an old man with wrinkly and very pale skin, whipped around insanely fast and stared at me. My brights were still on and I could see how pale his skin was, and then I saw the pitch black eyes. No whites in the eyes, just black. I was immediately filled with terror and almost froze up, but I floored it and sped the last few blocks to my apartment, parked and sprinted inside, locking all my doors and windows. The next day, I realized that none of the streetlights were illuminated on my whole street when this happened, even though it was within distance to trigger the sensors. I couldn't sleep at all that night. This happened in April of 2017. Oh, God. So it's just whipped around and gave them the gaze. And you got to wonder why. What was that? What was it doing? I say it because I don't know if these are he, she's, or I don't know what pronouns they prefer. I'm probably going to get demonetized, but anyway, I mean, what are they? We don't know. But if is it a physical thing? It wasn't turning on the automatic lights, the sensors, but it was there. So maybe it wasn't really there. I don't know. Creepy as hell though. You know, the black-eyed kids are bad enough, but then you get the black-eyed adults like this. Oh, God. But wait, there's more. Of course there's more. Let's go to this one. Supposed Bigfoot recorded on South Louisiana trail cam. Yeah, maybe. The hell is that? Let's read this. It says, this trail recording was captured on August 14th, 2022 at 8:46 a.m. local time in an undisclosed location in South Louisiana. I'd like to get more information on the trail cam picture. The trail cam setting must have been delayed somehow, or there was additional captures that were not released. Yeah. You don't usually get one photo. I mean, I guess you could set it to just get one photo, but it is very odd. Looks like, I don't know, like a head and a back, but I don't know what the hell is going on here. I mean, really, what is that? So, what do you guys make of this? I'm looking at it, trying to look for any cues, but it almost looks like a Sasquatch that's folded up and just been like pulled out of a capsule or something. I just don't know what to make of this. Like this is the hinge where the hip would come down, like a transformer. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this one, folks. That's very strange. I don't have any input on this. It's obviously an anomaly, but anybody have any idea? Brent, you could put the link in the chat, please. Yeah. Which one? This one? Sure. Yes, I could. Boom. There you go. See if you guys can make heads or tails of this. I don't know what it is. That's very strange. It kind of just looks folded up. There's the close-up. What is it? Hair is too long for a bear? It looks a little long. I don't see any ears or anything that would be a telltale bear look. I mean, it doesn't look overly broad like you would expect from a Sasquatch, but it's just bizarre. Is it just is this just a capture of it either phasing in or out? Is this what people see when they see them basically melt away? Is it going into a portal, just kind of stumped over and going into a portal or something? I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing any idea at this because it's incredibly bizarre. Huh. Well, I don't have any answers, folks. If you have answers, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. This wouldn't be the first time I looked at a trail cam photo and couldn't make heads or tails of it. And it took a deer hunter to finally comment in a thread. This is years before I had a show. But it's like, oh no, that's a deer. And he redrew the parts of the deer and how it was standing. And it was like, as soon as he said it, it was like, well, of course it's a deer. Okay, that makes perfect sense. But I couldn't see it without his guidance. And I suspect this is something like that. Like, I mean, it could be a freaking bunny for all I know that's just hopping in a weird way. I don't know. I mean, it looks kind of bigger. This is a little sapling branch. So, I mean, it's not tiny, I don't think. Looks like it's a little bigger, but I don't know what we're looking at. Love to see the rest of the photos. Yeah, me too. I mean, that's the thing, SoCal. There's only one to go with. We only got one. So what was before or after this? I don't know. And it's just one trigger. So again, probably one of those things where we're never going to have a real answer unless we could get maybe more of the material. Because I think trail cams either are set to three round burst. So it gets like over the course of like a second and a half, it'll take 3 pictures or a second. 3 pics a second or 3 pics every 1.5 seconds. But generally speaking, when you have a little more material, you can see how it got to this look. Maybe the frame before it or the 2 frames before it maybe make more sense, or the frame before and the frame after make more sense. But this one picture out of context is very weird. But you be the judge. We'll go to the next one. Upright canine reported in Frederick County, Maryland, near Camp David. This is a Frederick County, Maryland man is driving south on Route 15 between Emmitsburg and Thurmont when he observes and encounters a 6 to 7 foot tall upright canine standing at the shoulder. Hi, Lon. I was driving home from work on a misty night in October of 2019. I just crossed the border from Pennsylvania into Maryland on Route 15 south, and I was between Emmitsburg and Thurmont and listening to music on the radio, just trying to stay awake and alert. As I approached Little Owens Creek, I saw something move out of the corner of my eye. I slowed down and looked to my right toward the creek and trees, and what I saw next took my breath away. I slammed on the brakes. There was a large creature standing on 2 legs by the side of the road, clear as day. It looked like a hybrid of a wolf and a man with dark fur and a long snout, pointed ears, and bright yellow eyes. It had muscular arms, legs, and long claws on its hands. I couldn't see the feet. It was about 6 to 7 feet tall, and it had a long tail that was wagging slowly. Oh, jeez. It was wagging its tail. Oh, I don't think he wants to snuggle. The upright creature stared at me as I skittered to a halt, and then let out a loud and terrifying howl that reverberated throughout my car and body. The sound was more stark than any horror movie howl. It created a surge of fear and panic in me. And there's a map that kind of shows where it happened. And there. The beast took a step toward me, and then another. The expression on its face was that of anger. I didn't know what to do. I was practically paralyzed by fear, and I could only watch as the creature moved a few steps closer. At that moment, bright lights from a vehicle behind flashed behind me, and then the sound of a horn blared. The driver slowly drove by me on the left. The creature also noticed the light and the horn. It turned its head to look at the other vehicle. I quickly stepped on the accelerator and I sped forward. I didn't stop for anything until I got home in Frederick. And I guess that's maybe where it was, huh? When I walked in the house, my wife could see that I was upset. I told her what I witnessed, and she begged me not to tell anyone. I didn't have my cell in the car, by the way, but I doubt that I would have called the police. It's been almost 4 years since that encounter. I've continuously looked for references to a similar creature. I found your Pennsylvania Dogman upright canine map online and then read a few of the reports. I then noticed that there have been several sightings over the years in Frederick County, Maryland. I wish to remain anonymous. Wow. God, that's got to be horrifying. If you want Brent to see your question better, type Paranormal Portal. What did Nellie say? Nellie, thank you for the information on the lens flare video. My question is, does that also happen when you use night vision? It can. It can. It's just any bright light can create lens flares. It depends. I mean, it would essentially what you have to do is with these things is watch the videos and look to see if it mirrors the motion of the camera, even closely. Sometimes, again, with there's image stabilization features, will mask a lot of that so you won't see it in the camera film itself. But if you watch closely, you can see how it was moving that way, but the software kicked in and kind of recentered the frame so that you didn't have so much wiggle. So, yeah, I mean, it certainly can happen in lens flares. I have night vision binoculars and a night vision camera, and I've seen lens flares in both just from bright lights being in the field of vision or being near the field of vision enough to refract. So, yes, it can be. I'm not saying exclusively, but it can be. So just keep an eye on that. Also keep an eye out for any reflective surfaces, especially in night vision. Belt buckles, mirrors, shiny metal spoons, anything that has a reflective surface can create that light source that will again give you lens flares. So if there's any of that in the frame, chances are what you're looking at is probably a lens flare. But if you're looking at a video of an orb in a forest and there's no light anomalies anywhere to create a lens flare, maybe you got something. I'm not saying that it's impossible to catch orbs in film. It's just rare. It's just rare. So watch for those things. But yeah, I hope that helps. So anyway, very, very cool story. Very creepy though. I don't know what it would be like to see something like that and then having it walking towards you like it's pissed. I don't know why it would be pissed. It's the one that's hanging out by the road. Obviously these things, and that's the thing. It's almost psychological, right? Because if it's a dog-like creature, if it's canine-like, it has features of like a canine or a wolf or a coyote, that they could hear you coming 2 miles away easily. I used to love hanging out in the woods back where I grew up. I could hear cars from the highway, which was like 3 or 4 miles away, clear as day. So it's not like it didn't know these people were coming. It just chose to stand there and wait. And it's like, it was almost territorial. Like, Amir, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do, human? Like it wanted to intimidate them. And I often wonder with Dogman if that isn't part of their game. Like that's the fun part, is just instilling fear. There does seem to be something with that because they have no trouble getting right up and close and personal with people being in their area. Like a Bigfoot will probably just notice you, look away, maybe throw some rocks, maybe mirror you and shadow you as you're leaving area. So you hear them, but you can't see them, which is already psychological enough. A Dogman will sometimes comes right up and is like face to face with you, looking like it wants to eat your head. And then will back away or turn and go. Generally speaking, they aren't actually physically aggressive at least the stories we hear. The ones we don't hear, maybe they were physically aggressive because the people didn't live to report it. But the ones that people walk away from, they like to intimidate, and get up and scare the hell out of people. And then maybe snicker. Maybe they're that intelligent that they just love to try to get a rise out of people and then kind of laugh to themselves like, yeah, I'm the alpha. Who knows? Small dog complex. We don't know. Could happen in animals too. God knows that little yippy dogs, they think that they're St. Bernards. They think they're enormous. So maybe it's true for dogmen too. Just a thought. But anyway, yeah, that's a creepy, creepy story. We're down to about 9 minutes. I don't know if we got time for anything else. Probably not, but if we did, we could do the Morbuchan. No, this one's going to be too big. The next time we'll cover this story, the Morbach werewolf, eyewitness to actual events. So that'll be on a future show, which we'll cover when we can. So anyway, I think it's been a good show. We got a few minutes left, of course. So I'm going to just spend some time talking to you. But I hope you guys don't mind. I reckon you're right, Brent. What am I right? Oh, the Dogman thing, yeah. I think so. Because there's so many evidence, so many encounter stories that they just come up. They come right up to people. And they don't look happy. It's not like they're coming up, this one was wagging his tail. And I don't know if that means the same thing as it means for dogs. Like a dog wags his tail, oh, he might be friendly. That's a sign of playful, maybe. But maybe in this case, there's the food. There's the food. I'm hungry. We don't know. But anyway, again, I hope you guys don't mind the lens flare talk. I just want to really cover that stuff as much as we can because it's this stuff is so important to me that I want the evidence to mean something when something is discovered. And I don't blame people for posting things because they think they have something. And I understand that excitement, but I think it's important to, keep your mind open because there's a lot of mechanics at work with these tools like cameras and false positives that you have to be willing to acknowledge and listen to because, again, if you have evidence, it should be evidence. It should be convincing and stand up to scrutiny. Well, if it's just a mechanical thing, then it's easy to dismiss. And keep looking. You're probably going to find something eventually. Brent, time to leave. Get the warning. What? Time to leave. Get the warning. Yeah. I love to know more about what is known. It's actually exactly the same in my humble opinion. Knowing all the sounds in nature. Thanks, Brent. Yeah. Well, yeah, I would love to know more about this stuff too. Misfire Jack, tail wags are not always a sign of friendliness. There's so much more you need to look at its body language wise. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've had dogs throughout my life, but you're right. It's certainly not a go pet the puppy kind of thing. If it's showing its teeth, the tail wagging is, not really the key thing you look at. You got to look at posturing. You got to look at how its body mechanics are. Is it low and ready to pounce? That kind of thing. I don't know anything about the dog man, but I always, I assume since they look like wolves or dogs, my tendency is to apply canine logic to it, but you can't really do that either. That's a big stretch of the imagination. We don't know that they behave truly like wolves or canines at all. They just look similar. So whatever that is, we don't know. Attacking dogs wag their tails. Yeah. Okay. Yep. There you go. Have you heard wolves speak to each other? I haven't. I don't think. I mean, I've had plenty of dogs that like to talk. I had a German Shepherd that would always vocalize. Her name was Xena. She was a wonderful dog. I didn't name her. She came with the name because apparently she was the first puppy in the litter that actually barked. So they named her Xena after the warrior princess, of course. But she was a wonderful dog, very intelligent, very sweet dog. And she would always vocalize, just... I miss her all the time. Miss her to this day. She loved the boys a lot. She loved the boys. She was like a nanny dog. She really was. Like in Peter Pan, that dog that was kind of dressed up like a nanny. That's how Xena was. She was very much a caretaker. Like when Oliver was a baby, if he cried and I didn't hear right away, my dog Xena would position herself right in the dining room area, look at the bedroom where Oliver would be sleeping, or where I thought he was sleeping, then look at me, then look back at the bedroom, then look at me. So it'd be like this, like, go, he's awake. What are you doing? And it was just, she would hear that. Of course, her hearing is much better than mine. And she'd be right. He'd be starting to whine and fuss. So I'd go in and pick him up. It was very sweet. but she was very much a caretaker. And then if I'd roughhouse with the boys, she would always get in between. She'd scold me like that, just doing that talking thing. She wouldn't do it aggressively. She'd just press herself in between. She was great. She was wonderful. I miss her all the time. There's one thing about dogs and all of our animals that we love. They go right to our heart. I mean, they're just such amazing, beautiful creatures. And so I feel very fortunate that she was able to share her life with us. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I've got a chance to work with wolves, and I've seen how they speak. It was wild. Wow, that's amazing. I think it'd be an honor to work with wolves. I've seen wolves and petted wolves in a sanctuary, but yeah, I think they're incredibly amazing animals. There's, of course, wild wolves up here. There are many up here. They've done real well up here since their reintroduction, and to the point now that some people want to start hunting them again, which really breaks my heart because I think we ended up scrubbing them off the map once, and I think they have a right to be here. It's part of the wild ecosystem, and I think that's just, okay, they eat deer. Well, so do we. Are we saying we're the only ones that get to eat deer? I don't know. But anyway, I know everybody's got their opinions and their stances on that, but I just think leaving the natural world to a balance is good. Once we remove something, it suffers the whole ecosystem. But anyway, just my thoughts. So again, I just want to remind you guys, use the Discord link if you haven't already. Become a member, and you can qualify for a t-shirt giveaway that's coming up this next week. Wednesday night, we'll probably draw it just like we did last time, or yeah, something like that. So let me just look and see if anybody joined tonight. Nope, nobody's joined yet tonight. So if you could, again, the link is pinned right to the top of the chat. Love to have you become a part of our Discord, and you can be, part of the family. But again, if you like our chat and YouTube, and a lot of new people, that's one of the biggest compliments. God, you have such a great community. And I wish I could take credit for that, but that's what you guys have all created. But that same community is going on in the Discord. So please, by all means, get involved over on Discord and continue the dialogue. I'll try and find a video so you guys can see. Yeah, please send it over. I'd be happy to show it. So again, Wednesday night, there'll be a live show like normal, but next Friday, Saturday, there won't. However, it's possible I could stream some of the investigating going on. I'm just saying it's possible. So first it's going to be staying at a haunted home that we've got for Friday night and Saturday nights late. But we're going to be investigating St. Ignatius, Ignatius, and that is in Washington State. And it's going to be a big place to investigate. I'm hoping we have some great evidence and can make a great video for you guys, but it's going to be kind of a two-tier investigation. First, the haunted house that we're staying in, and then going the next day to investigate St. Ignatius into the early morning hours, then back to the haunted house to sleep what's left, and then head back home on Sunday. So I'm hoping we can stream some of that. So I hope you guys will be watching for that. Again, please get subscribed. Make sure you rung the bell so you get the notifications, because it's going to be all at the, right off the cuff. I don't have anything planned when I'm going to do anything, but I will stream some. And so give you guys a chance to check it out. But anyway, that's going to wrap up the journey for tonight. So remember, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. I'll see you next time, next Wednesday, and then we'll do a drawing. So be there.